It's been a while.
Welcome.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, we got loads to burn through. We've been mostly busy doing this, that, and the other, and on social media. So just follow us on social media.
We've
Follow
been
us on
really
Instagram.
busy. Yeah.
Go on Instagram, the FIFA Ramble. Loads happens there. It's where we try and be funny in hilarious consequences of footballness all the time. Non-stop football. Here's a comment. There you go. Here's another funny comment. Here's another funny comment. It's a continual thing. So welcome. Thank you for watching. This is number 28. We're on number 28, everyone, and we've got a whole list of stuff to burn through, which has been in my noggin, knocking around in the noggin.
Yeah.
You've probably been thinking about stuff as well.
I have, in the old think tank.
Yeah, in the old memory bank. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we're just going to share that with you, as well as questions of the week.
Yeah, we got questions of the week.
So from social media, it gets opened up, and we just cipher through numerous questions to be asked, and some quandaries and some opinions to be debated and just talked through in like a very whimsical way, as we usually do. In the process now, though, there's a little bit of admin corner, because everyone loves a little bit of admin. We are aware that Man United are on tonight, but we all know what's going to happen with that game, don't we?
Yeah, well, Ray Wilkins told me earlier that United are going to win it easily.
Tell him he owes me a five.
Still hasn't paid you.
Mm-hmm.
Still hasn't paid you.
Don't make me says. Worse than Bill Oddie.
Yeah. Bloody Bill Oddie.
What did Ray say?
Ray said that Sevilla were just relegation fodder by Premier League standards.
Yeah, don't worry about the cups that they've consistently won over the space of the last 5 years.
I mean, they've won a major European trophy. Was it 2 years on the bounce?
Yeah, don't even worry about that.
3 years.
Don't worry about it. Don't. Shh.
No.
Fodder. The word fodder as well.
Absolute fodder.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So we know there's football on. We know that we're a football podcast.
Mm.
However,
I'm a Man United fan.
And a Man United fan. I'm giving up watching it because this is the only day realistically that we could do, and it's important to keep giving you our nonsensical views. Yeah, it's just all speculation, but it's lovely speculation because we're just chatting about it. And thanks, cheers, Carl, for joining us in the Rambletorium. That's cool. We'll crack on then. We're going to start with a few questions. Just get us all loosey-goosey. Yeah. Just have a little chat in it. Just have a little ramble. Have a little football ramble. And then we'll play some like below par FIFA as we go on. But one of the first questions of the week bores from FA Cup action recently of crowds on the pitch. When everyone gets a bit too excited and adrenaline takes over and you can get to be a kid for 10 minutes. Yeah. That grass that you can't step on becomes just a way of just your team wins and you go, they tell me that I'm not allowed to go onto that grass. Do you know what? I am. Do you know what I'm going to do when people say not what to do? I'm thinking about doing it anyway. Nah. If they said, go on the grass, I'd go, nah. You're all right. But because they say don't. I'm not wearing the correct shoes. Nah. I don't want to ruin the groundskeeper's pitch. He's obviously worked hard. He's worked hard. That's his trade. That's where he gets paid. That's where the money is. That's where the magic happens. They say, oi, don't go on this. And you go, well, I'm going on it. I got issues with it because it's just a silly thing. And if we're going to be adult about it all, think of the security risk. Think of the children and the security risk. We all know what happens when stuff like that's broken. Yeah. As well, it's not only throwing missiles, and it's about this tribe mentality of like guerrilla-esque people just banging like it's robot wars. Doesn't need to happen, does it? But I know passion takes over, especially on a display like Wigan game. I think it harks back to the Wigan game, and that stunning. It was a stunning little finish by Green. It was lovely. It was beautiful, and a prophet foretold that Wigan would win 1-0. A young fan out-sprinted the most expensive fullback in football history. He did, but he made a hideous mistake and he put himself under pressure, didn't he? He did. Or Kai Walker. Put himself on a hot. He did himself into serious, didn't he? it was
Very, very
amazing
well.
to see his first touch to bring the ball away from Walker.
Yeah.
And Walker dithered, but then Grigg got on it and he just turned it inside, away from Walker.
Just enough, and that finish was sublime.
And it was the perfect weight behind it, because you had, I can't remember who it was
falling as well.
There was another Stones. So Stones is coming back to cover from the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
And Griggs pulled it away from Walker while not putting it into Stones' path. It was lovely.
But the one thing you can bring from pitch invasions is the fact of the matter is you can only do so much, and I don't think you could police it properly, and you can't properly stop a pitch invasion, can you? Because in a pack mentality, if there's people that will be, if they want to do it, they will. Basically, it's an open ground. All you need to do is maybe jump a fence, or maybe jump an advertising hoard, or smash the thing up in the first place and throw it and then get in. But look, you all see what the stewards are actually like. Stewards are there to marshal the situation. You're not gonna. It's not like Judge Dredd, is it? For Christ's sake, you're there. All they've got is an orange coat.
That's all they got.
Or a luminous coat.
They got high vis.
Yeah. They
got high vis and a job to do.
And usually they are of the older variety of person. Like I say that with respect. With stewards, they're going to steward. If you see a steward named Stewart in, that's optimum level stewarding.
That's optimum.
You can't get better than a steward named Stewart in a steward's convention. So I think there's limitations to what they can actually be done about pitch invasions, but you can't stop the passion, can you? Take the passion out of the game. There's VR coming in. There's all these fangled things, you know. Yeah. It's always going to be a thing. But look, that's the end of. You can't stop it really, but it's quite nice when it happens sometimes. But the thing is, people are idiots, so you can't really. It justifies no end, does it? The means doesn't justify an end in a pitch invasion. Have you enjoyed any pitch invasions that you've actually been involved with?
I haven't been in that many memorable ones.
I was at the Leeds Cardiff City one.
I heard that was a good one. I know someone.
But I didn't really enjoy it. I felt like I was going to get stabbed.
Well, it's Leeds.
Yeah, I felt like I was going to get stabbed when I was a kid at the time. I did not feel very safe. And I think in that environment, in that space, anything could happen to you. You get punched, you get like trampled on, and it's a safety risk. So I'm not for it. Yeah,
I've got a bit. I don't know how I feel on pitch invasions, because I think you can't blame the Wigan fans for wanting to get on and celebrate, but then also
you forget there's idiots.
I think there's two questions, because a pitch invasion like the one that they had at Brighton. Now Brighton, by and large, is a nice place with open-minded, nice people. Essentially,
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. That pitch invasion was very well thought out when they got promoted to the Premier League.
Definitely, I saw the little bus as well.
They genuinely, a lot of people there was no running on it. They just sort of walked on and just and everyone was enjoying themselves. But
it's the equivalent of a slow clap.
It just takes one.
And are there any idiots in football?
Yeah.
Are there any idiots? Yeah. So I think that's it. Did Gormley pose that question?
Gormley posed that, and Gormley's in.
Gormley. So yes,
Gormley.
I think we've covered that, but we'll get to it a bit later on. But
yeah, because we got to come back to it.
I saw he swung for my boy.
Yeah. Aguero. That's the first thing I thought of when I was watching it. I went, he's not going to be happy.
I'm not very happy.
That guy's just taking a swing at Aguero.
One of the most influential strikers of the Premier League history.
For best player in the Premier League right now.
Absolutely. Hands down.
See? My opinion on who the best player in the Premier League is, I also think is hands down. But it's not Aguero. But I think it's a different
Same team, though.
So this is opinions. Differing.
Ooh,
I like it.
So yeah, my hands are still down, though.
His hands are down.
Hands are down.
My hands aren't. So maybe that means his hands have just won the question. They've just won the argument.
But hands down, I think.
His hands just made Aguero the best player in the Premier League.
I think he's the most influential striker in recent times performing, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but that's fine. That's cool. Hey, I don't mind that whatsoever. He's just a magical wee man.
Leading on from that, then we had another question, and I quite liked it. It is related, but I do quite like it. Does Pep not believe in magic?
Does he believe in magic? It is. I don't think he does when you consider how the terms and conditions that come with it.
I like
the amount of yellow cards in that game from Wigan players, right? And do you know what? Do you know what I think the difference was? The scuffle at half time. Do you know what? If I was a Wigan manager, I'd say get stuck in even more now.
Yeah, you would.
This is it. This is how we beat them. They don't like it up them. It's probably a phrase which is probably said.
It was the League One version of when Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan took on Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, and so every time a Barcelona player came as close to a Barca player as you and me are now, the Inter Milan players went down, won the free kick.
Yeah,
they let him have the ball. I've talked about it loads because I could watch that game over and over again and never get bored of it.
Do you think we saw the rearing of player crowding from that game? Because we haven't seen that for a little while, have we?
No.
The sways of that. If you're that concerned about it, why didn't you go to VR? Was VR used in that game?
No, it wasn't.
So if that probably would have stopped that from escalating, right?
More, you'd imagine.
So I think there's a place for it when you consider what happened, and especially if that starts to happen. Basically, if John Terry's playing, he'd love to do that, wouldn't he? Get in the grill of the ref. This influential, but if you're a good ref, you wouldn't stand for that, would you? So I don't think that was good refereeing, for one. For two, if there was VR, I think it could properly neutralise that situation a lot.
Yeah,
because it was a filthy game by Wigan.
It was quite dirty. It was, but they were.
And look,
were they dirty?
I think they were rough.
Or were they tactical?
I think they were rough housing. If we were on Football Manager, then you put the tackling on hard.
Yeah, hard.
And then you use. I think there's been a lot of gamesmanship in terms of the run up to that, especially all the controversy involving. Yes, comment. Involving the fact that player protection and what the Wigan guy. What's the name of the manager? I think what the staff tapped into there is an issue with what's acceptable and what's not in terms of the tackle.
Yeah.
And any manager should be concerned with their players. But if that is one thing which is going to stop Man City, because they'll probably play them off the park if they give them too much respect and they don't attack them, they're not aggressive, is that necessarily a bad thing to go in hard on those players? To the point where you get a reaction from Fabian Delph, which was a horrible tackle. However,
do you know what Fabian Delph tackle reminded you? I'm sorry to cut you off, but it reminded me of
any tackle against them in the last 5 games.
It reminded me of you on FIFA when you're 2-0 down and you can't win the ball.
I think it's a low blow, Mr. Calhoun. I think that's a very low blow. But speaking of that, should we get this going in a minute as well?
Yeah, we should.
We've seen that tackle time and time again on Man City players over the span of the last 2 weeks at that level. And to say got away with it is a silly thing, but we've seen that on those Man City players, haven't we? Now, I'm not standing up for that Fabian Delph tackle because that was a stupid tackle.
It was.
However, to go from yellow to red and to get that reaction, that to me is not the magic of the cup. The magic of the cup is when you actually hold your own. And I'm a purist, obviously. I don't like rough housing or rough neckery of that sort. I'm not. I don't enjoy seeing the Wigan players scythe down those players. I don't enjoy that. But what matters, it gets a result. And I think the the halftime jostle really spurred him on to do it. I don't think
Pep, that's what they were going to do, wasn't it?
Is not that type of guy usually, is he? He's not. And what riled him up there is something must have been said. Something must have properly got to him. But that's part of gamesmanship. So I'm sort of torn. I'm talking to myself here. I'm sort of having a chat with myself with the stuff. So I do believe
what they did was sensible.
If Pep, if Pep was beaten fair and square, right, in my opinion, he would believe in magic and he'd say nicer things about the Wigan performance and this, that, and the other. Now, to be a good sport, he would have to say that anyway, under a gritted teeth.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I just don't like the way Wigan went about that at all. With the yeah. What were your thoughts on that?
Look, I can see why they did. There's an argument to be made that, yeah, okay, from a football purism point of view, it's not the best. It's not the best, and it's not the most nice. It's not the nicest way to play football. However, at the moment, the only blueprint you really have to beat Man City is Liverpool.
Yeah.
Now, Wigan haven't got, and no offense to any Wigan fans, but there is no Wigan cannot play football the way that Liverpool do. So they have to find another way of doing that. Now, again, it ties in nicely to your pitch invasion comment, but Leeds United in the 70s won a lot of First Division championships, and they were called Dirty Dirty Leeds. You know, I mean, in the Charity Shield when they played Liverpool.
People don't remember that, do they? Remember titles?
Yeah,
they get it.
Exactly. But they were as well known for being robust in a tackle as they were for being
Benevento. Deal with it.
Right,
it's a little witch.
I'll be West Ham. They were known for being as dirty as they were for being talented and winning titles. In Clough's first game in his brief tenure as manager of the Billy Bremner got sent off because he got into a fist fight with Kevin Keegan on the pitch at Wembley in front of the Queen. I mean, Liz was having none of that. Well, so but Leeds weren't as talented as the Liverpool squad of that day. So on a footballing point of view, they were very talented. Don't get me wrong. You know, Johnny Giles and I could go on. I mean, that side was great, but they had to find a way to win at all costs.
Bakary Sagna, that's right. He's a Benevento now.
Is he really?
He's in the team as well.
Oh, I did not know.
Well, now I hope I've got you to learn something today. And look else there, Sandro. Remember him? I've been Benevento, and if there's any Italian league fans out there watching, you'll know that they're just little underdogs. They just keep nibbling Benevento at the moment. If you want to keep up on trend with your trans. I'm going to say trans. No, don't say trans. Okay, Jesus.
That's a different podcast entirely.
If you want to keep track of football overseas, then I would highly recommend you listen to TalkSport around 9 o'clock on a Sunday. Because it just has a wicked roundup of all.
I genuinely thought you were taking the mick.
No, really. No. Because I'll get to actually, it leads really nicely to my next point, because that is a wonderful, wonderful show where on Sunday, so lovely roundup, and it gives you like live commentary of the football going on and stuff as well. But it tells you like what amazing things are happening. It breaks down like German football, it breaks down Spanish football, French football. Tells you all the hot players and all the players which are going to be linked in with like the big clubs in the Premiership.
You're a very big TalkSport listener, aren't you?
I am in part, so I'm not just pissing and moaning about Adrian Durham. That's fine. Like everyone could love and mostly hate Adrian Durham, and that's totally cool. What I got issues with is a couple of things really. Like love it, hate it. Like that's fine. It's there for opinion, and obviously people like Adrian Durham and Drive Time are there to get opinion. And that's totally cool. But there are a couple of things. The same thing with Alan Brazil in the mornings on the breakfast morning when like Joey Bebop's on or Ginola, David Ginola is really cool, and that's fine. But the other aspect, which it bugs me because that's a decent enough show, and I know it's a lads' club, and that annoys me a bit as well. But obviously, Alan Brazil is proper old school. when it comes to his craft, and I totally get that. But the one thing I absolutely hate about that show and the whole thing, and it bothers me in sport, is betting in sport.
Yeah.
It's been so normalized now. It's cast
It's
into,
isn't it?
yeah, it's just thinking it's a good thing, and it's really not. And it's really not clever, and it's really not fun, and I don't think it should be promoted.
I know watch or listen to any sports broadcast at the minute without being told to bet. I
know it pays the bills. I get that. But there's got to be a better way. Just whispering at the end, please gamble responsibly, blah, 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 know when to start. That's rubbish. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to... That is completely irrelevant. No one's going to do that. No. And the way it's glamorized, it annoys me, especially with people who should know better, and even to the point of, I think Joey Barton is a very strong-willed, strong-minded person. Am I right? Yeah. Does his own thing. Even Joey, I like Joey Barton a lot. Even Joey Barton, right? Even Joey Barton, I felt was properly put in a corner a little bit when he was on a couple of weeks ago when I was listening to it. It was brought up casually, and he's had his problems before. He's not ashamed of that. He's not afraid of that. He's very outspoken when it comes to that. He talks about it. He's very even on Alan Brazil. Alan Brazil was trying to just get it to justify betting, and Joey in this awkward position was like, even he was on the back foot with it. That's how big it is. Someone as outspoken as Joey Barton is put in a little bit of a corner when Alan Brazil's like, come on, you gotta like the GGs, you like the horses. It's just nonsense. And the other thing is, know the power of what you're doing when you're broadcasting, because you normalising it, you normalising betting, it's going to influence so many people, right? And it's really irresponsible for people who aren't on the same wages as you and haven't got the ability to have a little flutter and to have it as spare money. So I just think it's not on. What do you think? That's my little rant. I'm dead against. I can't move this there. Right, I'm dead against anything which people could potentially. I'm going to say potentially become addicted to. Look, that's not. But it's that betting is gambling is problematic for a lot of people, and it's not the same in America. Even America hasn't gone through what we're actually going through right now. I don't see that there's any. Well, there is a difference because of health things, but. Tobacco companies can't advertise, which makes you wonder. It's such a difficult argument. It is totally. I get that. Head, I just think, well, there should be, there should be more. There should be tighter guidelines. If it's absolutely responsible and absolutely reasonable to, to some people, this is the problem in that. I'm trying to okay. I'm gonna have to pause this and talk about this, right? Because I'm going to talk about something serious now, right? Gambling cannot be done in a responsible way. Advertising for it, if you are advertising to a certain portion of the public who are prone to become addicted to it, in the same way that with myself, you cannot advertise alcohol to me responsibly. It's impossible. Because of previous issues that I've had with alcohol. Now, I don't drink anymore, and I haven't drunk for, it will be 8 years coming up. So alcohol, and it's not like, I wasn't Oliver Reed or whatever, but I have got such an addictive personality that was with any substance really, for a long time. So much mental strength to get to that position where you know yourself enough to know how you react to it and how you get over it. So alcohol wasn't necessarily a problem, but it was a trigger to a problem. So I took away the trigger, and then it makes everything a lot better because there's no trick. Because if I got really drunk, that would lead on to other places which I just literally cannot go down again. Yeah. So I took away the trigger, and then it's fine. And now I go out, I enjoy myself, but I just don't get drunk, and I have a better time for it. So that's my argument now with gambling, is that there's certain people who you can advertise responsibly. I totally get it's business. I understand that, but I think there's just got to be a better way. Andrew. I'm not being all like, lefty in my approach here. I just genuinely think there's a flawed structure in place, and they're getting away with it. To have a little bit just before, like say at half past, after or before the news in the morning, that's peak time, and to normalise it so much, and just you get, and it's the lads club, which bugs me, it bothers me. The guy who does like Paddy Power or whoever, I don't know. And it's so casual, like, oh, yeah, so the races, we had a good time in the box, didn't we? Or, yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. And it's all rubby shoulder. I don't feel very comfortable with that, because they are influencers. They're influencers. And to casually just bring their own stuff into it, I don't think is professional in the slightest.
My opinion is that there are going to be people with you.
Yeah.
There are going to be people out there who are addicted. It's going to sound really ridiculous what I'm about to say, but there are going to be people out there who are gambling addicts who haven't yet gambled, if that makes sense.
Look, it's an ever-growing presence, and dare I say it, I think the football Ramble are au fait with it as well.
Yeah, well,
you know, and I know it pays the bills.
Yeah,
exactly. I know, but it's the danger of in this culture of ours. It's just knowing the dangers of what you can lose.
Well, it's Gormley's made a good point on there, where he said it's just they just can't compete. You know, is it that they can't compete?
It's just, yeah. I just think it's
an interesting one, because look,
I want to let's open it up then, right? We'll debate it a little bit more, like on social media and stuff, because I'm genuinely actually interested, because that's obviously my very humble opinion of the situation.
I'm not as dead against it as you are.
Yeah.
However, I can see how problematic,
how detrimental and damaging that could be to quite young minds.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people.
Any minds alike.
Well, say, you know, look at who's watching football, age-wise. Age-wise,
yeah,
people are watching football who are very young. I'd support it being curtailed at the least. Yeah, I think that's about fair. I think the middle ground is to stop it completely, to stop gambling companies from completely sponsoring football would be too totalitarian.
Yeah.
But to give them free reign would obviously be ridiculous. So yeah, I do think though, at the moment, if you look at the swing, it's swinging far too much to it's too prevalent throughout sport, and it's not being contained enough.
Gomez got a great point, because it actually leads into one of other points of contention here, how much business versus fan power there actually is, and the self-realization of fans must realize that they are involved in business.
Yeah.
At some cost, in a tribal mentality, when all you've got is a difference between your player is the stripes of your shirt. That's all you've got to differentiate. It's us versus their mentality. It's pack, it's tribal. Do fans actually realise that what perpetuates this at the highest level is business, and that is at the heart of it? Instead of thinking it's all like, it's all about passion and pride and this, that, and the other. Because I know there's players out there which who believe this to be a job, and it should be a job at some point as well as the other. But I don't expect most fans to realise the implications of clubs being a business. I don't think that really hits home, really. So when fans go on and say they hate their owners or this, that, and the other, without actually seeing what those owners have brought into that club, made it into that operational unit, I don't think that's considered. I think that's never considered, because that's a fan's perspective versus business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think people should realise what it is a machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
And going, obviously you're aware of it. You're a Chelsea fan. You know the situation. You know the structure. You know the process which is in place with Chelsea. They're one of the pioneers of their time of doing so and changing the game and making it a massive business industry.
Yeah.
The amount of money that Chelsea put in made everyone step up their game with transfers, as well as money being thrown around, as well as everything else to go along with it. No, I don't think most fans realise that all that goes in behind the scenes.
Well, no, they all think that it's still Roy of the Rovers.
Mm.
A lot of fans. That's
So,
too fast. That's a very sweeping comment, but that's how fans want to see it. It's a business.
You know what I mean? And it should be seen that way. So when it comes to advertising, when that's thrown in, like betting and beer, like you're saying, as well as like kit sponsors and all this stuff, this is huge amounts of money which funds it. So they've got no right to complain if there's any issues. When it's a constant thing. It's Simon. What's his name? It's Simon Jordan.
Palace.
Yeah. They're like standing up to the fact that he's like, well, first of all, like you think we're the bad guys, okay, whatever. To say like those people have the impression that the chairman don't care. He's like, they do care. We do like it's genuinely a care of what the fans think. But at the end of the day, they have to operate a business. If they don't operate the business, they will get absolutely scrutinised completely.
Yeah,
and then there's money loss or like like there's so many ins and outs of it. But I just think that fans should be more au fait with the actual running of a club,
do they?
Another business, because they don't. What? Why don't you think that they can't relate to it? They can only relate to those players on the pitch.
I think because most fans, it's not a business to them. It's part of their lives, you know.
And this taps into what we always talk about as well. Is like, loyalty isn't usually a thing anymore, is it? Because anyone in their right minds would just take another paycheck if they said double your pay, and they would jump there. So I don't get that either. Like that's another thing which people don't take into consideration.
Fans will find it, by and large, they'll find it very difficult to see it as a business because they don't. It's not a business to them. It's more than that. You know, it's passion.
And that's the exact thing that the businesses do milk. That's their bread and butter, isn't it? They care so much about their fans being the lifeblood of the club. Guess why? Do you know why? I think it's the main reason why. You know what I mean? Because it pays. Yeah. It pays them to do so. So, and it's the same with any other business. You're going to say the customers, the lifeblood of this business. Guess why? That's the reason why. It's not because of the pride and the passion. It's because of the pay that you put in.
That's the difference, though, between a fan on the terrace, for one of the in the seats now.
In the seats, no terraces left.
That's the difference between that and Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley sees it as a business.
Yeah.
And the fans in the ground see it as it's their way of life. To quote Brian Clough, as I am wont to do on many occasions, he said,
for every occasion,
he once said, he would say to the team, to his Derby team, when his Derby team were flying, he would take them to. They were situated next door to a mill. I believe it was a mill, or it might be a steel. No, I think it was a mill. But anyway, it was an industrial building. Yeah, it was an industrial workplace. Yeah. And he would take this squad out on a Friday, and he'd make them watch the workers leaving for the weekend.
Yeah,
and they'd watch them leave, and he'd say, right, there's your crowd. They pay your wages. They come here. They just had a really hard week in work, doing work harder than you've ever had to do.
Yeah.
And it's your job tomorrow to go out and entertain them. And you want all their problems that they had this week. It's your job to make them forget about that and to enjoy their Saturday for an hour and a half. And he'd make them watch them until they left. And then when they finished, he'd be like, go on. And he'd send them home. There'd be no training.
Yeah.
And that'd be it. It'd be like, see you tomorrow.
That's refreshing, isn't it? You don't hear that too often. Ooh.
Oh, I don't even know.
If we're moving into like business and fans, should we just plunge straight into Arsenal Fan TV then?
No, Arsenal Fan TV.
Do you want to do that really quickly?
Yeah,
do that really quickly because I think Arsenal TV is the antithesis of negativity in fans and in football about moaning about everything. When grandly considered, Arsenal are actually consistently very good.
Yeah.
And I understand there's blips, but there's going to be blips. There's going to be blips everywhere. The fact is, why is this? They're trailblazing here, Arsenal TV, because it's really opening things up in the broader term. Because there's a whole debate of
Arsenal fans are brilliant.
They just for numerous reasons, isn't it? Like it's such an interesting study. But every club have that group. But it's a Arsenal fan TV, of which is set in like trailblaze, and the fact is, it goes back to our business thing, doesn't it? It's like, how much will they get listened to as this perpetuates and moves on and gets bigger? They have become like quite a force now with all the nonsense and everything else. But you can't debate anything because it's purely opinion and it's speculation, isn't it? Oh, you should be 3-0.
That would have been filth.
Yeah, that would have been right and dirty. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I consider it is a very intriguing thing for our modern time of social media.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
We live in a world where the President of the United States has a very active Twitter feed. Arsenal Fan TV is just a site. It's
just really tapped into that, isn't it?
But that's the generation that we live in. You know,
And look, do you know what? Obviously, we're completely aware. People love to hate. They love to hate, especially if you're British. You know, you're gonna love hating on something.
Yeah,
there's gonna be something. You know, what's the grumpy guy? Whatever. He's not gonna be happy at most points of the day, is he? So you're tapping into the fact that it is a. I think it is a football mentality, isn't it? Like, there's not too many clubs which are very happy all the time. Obviously, it's a living, breathing thing, isn't it? And I know it goes in sways, but it just taps into such negativity all the time about like everything. And most of the time, you can't tell me it's all justified, can you?
It's the problem that you have.
But it's opinion, and that's where we're at, you know.
The problem that you have with it, it's like Arsenal Fan TV is like communism.
Yeah, that's what happens. Communism doesn't work.
Yeah, this is what happened. It was a good idea, but it doesn't work in practice. You know, it's because, especially when you get more people involved.
Yeah, and more production value, and more people have things to say.
What you then get is you get people who are just voices and faces. That's all they are.
But isn't that the problem with social media in general?
Yeah.
Isn't that where it gets muddled and clouded and rubbish? Because there's so many opinions, and you can't say this, that, and the other, because every opinion, there's no right opinion. Like, no one can win on social media. You can't do it. There's always going to be something you can do, or there's going to be something you should have said, or you say something incorrectly, because the tone matters. And it's so easy to annoy people. It's so easy. So no one wins in social media. And I think we're at a point where we're so young into the whole thing of social media. We're realizing mostly the negatives, and 1-0 down. But no one's ever been that far with social media because it's such a new medium.
It's really new. The newspapers have been around for how long?
Wow.
You know,
even printing press,
radio and TV, they've all now become more and more. Social media is really new. We won't actually see social media for what it could be, what it should be, until my kids are older. You know, because
whatever becomes in the meantime.
It's so new, and people are still getting used to it.
Yeah.
It's the problem that I have with social media. Not social media, people who use it, is the way that they now feel brave. Like, certain people feel not brave, that's the wrong turn of phrase. They are happy to argue
freely because
they're not in front,
and they can just switch off.
Like, I'll tweet something. I can't remember what I tweeted something the other day, and someone immediately commented and was really like vocal about disliking it, and I was like, Okay, fair enough. And that's all I put. Okay, fair enough.
I respect your opinion. That's fine.
He kept arguing, and I was just like, why are you arguing? Yeah, and I just called him out and I said, why do you keep arguing? And he's like, because this is ridiculous. I was like, no, what's more ridiculous is that you're feeling the need to send me 7 tweets in a row. 3 minutes ago, I didn't even know you existed.
But look, that's the interconnecting element of it, isn't it?
If you and me were having a conversation on a bus, and we were saying this now, but there is a comment somewhere that I'll show you later, which is hilarious. But
I welcome those comments.
No, one of the comments that
question everything. Why not?
No, one of the comments that we had.
Yeah.
Which you and me laughed at.
Yeah.
Like really abusive one.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. It's along those lines. Yeah. Now we're having a conversation, and it's someone has decided I'm going to be angry and say swear words to these people. If you and me were having this conversation on the train, he wouldn't lean over the seats and go wankers.
Depends how loud you're being.
Yeah, but it's not as it's not going to happen as often. The social media just gives people
that platform,
the ability to just go, I'm really angry and don't agree, so I'm going to do it really aggressively. So, all right, shut up.
Why would you question everything? Go on, is that you being funny then?
I know what he means though. It's just, who are we going now?
I'm going to be a random
4 and above.
Crystal Palace, I'm
going. Crystal Palace.
But I mean, question everything that doesn't necessarily make sense to you. If you don't understand a concept of something, there's no harm in asking those questions to dig deeper, or if there's a better way of doing it. That's why I think people should ask questions about this, that, and the other. You know,
there was a very good series which you can get on YouTube actually in its entirety a few years back called Joe Rogan Questions Everything, which I highly recommend. He literally questions out from AI to Bigfoot. His way of questioning whether or not Bigfoot was real, because he wants Bigfoot to be real.
He really does.
Yeah, he believes he knows it's not, but he really wants it to be real. So what his way of doing it was, he got him and his mate went out into the woods with Bigfoot hunters, but before they went out hunting Bigfoot, they smoked a load of weed, and he said it's one of the worst decisions he'd ever made. He said, because I was just then realised that I was in the woods, high as hell, thinking, what if Bigfoot is real? I can't outrun him now.
I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
I'm done. I'm finished. It's very good. It's worth watching. There's about 7 of them. His one on aliens is very good as well.
But yeah, all right.
But yeah, I do agree that questioning things is good.
I think we'll save this one maybe. I was going to delve into that.
Yeah,
I think
we could always.
Yeah, Michy's doing well, isn't he?
He's on fire. It would be interesting to get Gormley's.
Gormley, what do you think of Michy? Michy Batshuayi. What are you saying? Well, that's quite extreme, Gormley. There's not. I don't literally mean question everything, like if someone asks you for a cup of tea. I just mean generally, like any sort of functionality in life, not every single goddamn thing.
If someone asks you for a cup of tea.
Tactics suit him, so good luck to him. Do you think he's got a future coming back to the bridge?
I
think he's so happy there because he's a big fish.
I think Gormley's right. I think tactics suit him. I think he's gone there. The tactics suit him. He's played. He's playing well.
As well.
He is. I do think that there's it's the same as look. Diego Forlan played really well. Everyone but United, as much as Dortmund fans won't want to sort of agree with me, playing for Chelsea is a lot bigger than playing for Dortmund. It's a bigger stage.
It is now, but it's
It is now.
So,
Look, it's not
yeah.
that far removed, don't get me wrong. But playing for Dortmund in the Bundesliga there's not as many eyes on you as playing for Chelsea in the Premier League.
There's enough the coverage as well. But it's the big fish, isn't it? It's the big fish situation.
Yeah, that's right. The Giroud and
there's two which we've always been watching coming through. One of them is Michy Batshuayi. Yeah. The other one is Kelechi Iheanacho.
Yeah, Kelechi. Yeah.
They're the two which we've got eyes on because we expect big things from. The fact is, Michy wasn't getting the time, so he made the jump and he wanted to do it to go there, test himself, to prove himself. Kelechi is such a talent, and we've spotted him from such an early age. I don't know what will happen to Kelechi.
He's having
he should be smashing it for Leicester, shouldn't he?
He should be. Life. Stangenbuster. He should be. I don't really. He hasn't had
unless he's injured or something's gone going down.
Kelechi last night actually.
Really?
Yeah. In our predictions, because we were both wrong on that. Because we both said Christensen should be our captain next season. Right, I really, really like Christensen.
In my dream team from the start, just saying.
I think he's a
Gormley, I think it's a great show.
He's a very, very good.
Although I know he's young, and he did make that glaring error last night, didn't he?
Well,
I'm not going to hold.
Did he?
I think he
made an error, but was it? I'm not saying it wasn't.
I don't want to play the blame game.
Right. I think there's a difference in errors. There's an error, which is what Christensen did last night.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll give you the other side, which is also being discussed as an error, which is Chris Smalling diving against Newcastle. Now, they're two errors. However, one of them was a dive when he wasn't anywhere near you, which then led to a free kick, which led to a goal, which led to a loss. And that is just stupidity. What Christensen did was try and play the ball.
I'd say as a goalkeeper,
with Messi and Iniesta breathing down his neck.
So as a goalkeeper, why are you playing that ball across the back? Why would you do that? That's like 101.
But I just think I don't want to play different errors.
Yeah.
I think one's a genuine human error of a young defender who was also being.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to hang. I wouldn't hang him out to dry over such a thing. I'd
probably make that error if I looked up and I saw Messi and Iniesta come towards me. I'd shit myself. I love Christensen. I think he's a great player.
He is a wonderful player, and it is proof that sometimes Chelsea do nail it with the young talent that's coming through.
Yeah.
When you can play the game of like reinvestment nicely, it's really nice to see when they actually flourish. Like imagine if Kevin De Bruyne had that at Chelsea, had that platform. You know what I mean? Like it's nice that they're given a go.
I do think as well that with Chelsea with the young players, I do think that a lot of it comes down to there was actually no set, the amount of manager changes and therefore tactical changes.
Yeah, and it just rotates, doesn't it, all the time? Like if there's a new manager comes in after Conte, you're going to have to step it up for Conte and show that, like Victor Moses did with Conte for the first season, right?
Yeah, well, look, it happens with every club. There's certain players who just don't fit in with the managers.
Mourinho.
Well, Mourinho is a big case of it, but he doesn't. They just cannot.
We've got Mourinho's corner this week. We could do something.
No, I'm sure he can do something.
No, I'm sure we can. He's been pretty quiet, really, but he's playing tonight. So, we need to check the score on that as well. I'm talking to myself.
But yes, I do think Moore's been made. Oh, I don't know what happened. Moore's been made of the Mourinho not playing.
Luke Shaw.
Yeah, well, it's just a case of Luke Shaw has had a lot of games. More because we haven't actually got another left back, but that's by the by. But I just think it's a case of this is how I want to play, and he's a great player. When fans are sort of they're very indignant and because they like a certain player and they want him to play, and he had a good season last season.
Forgetting for the past instantly.
He's a great player.
Really?
With Luke Shaw, Mkhitaryan, things like that, Hazard, I think a lot's more made of it because what Mourinho, like, look at Mata. Mata's perfect example. He sold him at Chelsea because Mata didn't fit into the tactics which he wanted that Chelsea team to play. So then he becomes Man United manager, and everyone goes, "Oh, well, he's going to sell him because he sold him last time. He's not a Mourinho player." Well, he plays a different style of football at United. Mata fits into it, so Mata plays a lot.
Yeah.
It's not. I think a lot more is made of Mourinho. Like, oh well, he'll get rid of this player, whatever.
Because Mourinho sells, man.
Well, it's because he does. But Mourinho is just, he said, "These are my tactics." He doesn't fit into them because he doesn't do this job. Like Martial ran the risk.
I love Martial.
I love Martial. I think he's amazing.
So useful.
Mourinho does not want to have two wide players on the counter a lot of the time. He wants to play a different way.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Anthony Martial is not manager of the club.
Isn't he?
No, not last time I checked. So if Mourinho says we're going to play this way, and can you play? And then he gave players a chance. Mkhitaryan had a chance. It just didn't fit in with how Mourinho wanted to play football. So he left. Same with Mata at Chelsea. Countless examples of it at first time around at Chelsea. And at Inter, look at Inter with Eto'o.
Yeah, true.
Eto'o had a good season, and he managed to get. Zlatan had a good season, and he got a lot out of him.
Jesus never stood the
Harry Kane just presented an award at the Brits. His personality of Amoeba, just saying. Yeah, no, Harry Kane hasn't got the best stuff.
Jay, he's not getting paid for that, is he? He's not getting paid to be charismatic.
Awards, no.
He's not getting paid to do that. Do you know what he's getting paid for, Jay? Do you know what he's getting paid for?
Right. Win the World Cup for England.
That, and in a sense, yeah.
In a sense.
As well as not to do anything naughty whilst he's at Spurs, all the
He's
football
being paid to be the second best centre forward in world football.
Jane, honestly, right? Football clubs will prefer all their players to be as boring as Harry Kane. As long as he's not naughty and doing nothing in hotels or whatever else that goes along with being a modern footballer of this time.
Would you prefer Harry Kane, personality-wise, or Mario Balotelli?
Well,
let's do a poll.
Let's do a poll.
We'll do a poll.
Kane or Barlow, yeah?
Yeah.
Barlow. Okay, we'll do that. And we'll also do a gambling one. I want to see what people think of the gambling. I'm intrigued. West Bromwich. Do you know how I found out about the news of West Bromwich?
How?
I wasn't in a taxi or anything. It was through the FIFA Ramble Instagram.
Was it really?
It was, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I broke the news.
Yeah. So you're important there.
I was ahead of the times.
You were.
I acted on.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not having it.
Yeah. Have it. Yeah. So I was. What the hell's going on?
Mario. They both said. Look, everyone's saying Mario. I prefer Balotelli.
Mario.
But then
who would you prefer in your dream team?
Harry Kane.
Ah.
Yeah, I know, but as a personality, you want Balotelli, didn't you?
Obviously, you want him because you don't know what he's going to do.
But then also, I'm not trying to run. Imagine working at a club. Imagine being a press officer.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, I'd want the most boring guy. Like, I'm just thinking of the next game sort of comment, If I wanted someone like Asu Akoto, which would be lovely and refreshing, right? That's just another thing, They would give press officers a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? Finish. Press officers would have a fit if they had more of those personalities. And I think they're kept from those type of things. Like Jimmy Bullard. He's made a whole career out of being himself.
Yeah.
Right now. People want to see more of that, but I don't know what level is a good level to be at. You've got to be professional. You've got to say things by the book. But ideally, I'd like to see a bit of human in there as well.
Yeah, you do want a bit of human.
Just an element. A dapple of human. Just throwing it. So I don't know what actually happened. I just know about 5, 6 of the squad members were drunk whilst they were out and they stole a taxi.
They all broke curfew. 4 players broke curfew.
Yeah. Not naming any names.
No, they've admitted it, so we can. Hill, Johnny Evans.
Do you think he's annoyed when he goes off?
Gareth Barry, not while he's in the taxi.
True. Couldn't do that, could he?
Well, I don't know. Wenger would probably be less of a...
The Wenger bus.
He'd probably be like... he'd do that, wouldn't he? He'd go that noise. Like they come to him and go, 4 players have broken curfew, have stolen a taxi, and he'd be like...
No, I think it'd be like a disappointed dad.
He would, but he wouldn't bollock him. Because he doesn't. But anyway. We can't talk about that. We've missed a whole podcast of it, which is great.
That's not TV.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so I don't actually know, like,
yes, it was Evans, Evans, Michy, Barry, and one other, and I've forgotten the fourth. They basically got drunk and came out of a McDonald's, I believe, and then nicked a taxi.
That's it, Gormley. Yeah, you're right. That's it. That's what you want, isn't it? Gormley, right? Okay. You're a press officer for Mario Balotelli. What's your first move? Well, wait. Do you know what mine would be?
Yeah.
To have a campaign about people like refs not having his back when there's racism in. Because they can't. Apparently, he got carded or something for. Go on.
Apparently, I haven't really read much into it, to be fair. So I don't know enough to pass enough comment on it. But yeah, apparently Balotelli got carded for complaining that he'd been racially abused.
It's outrageous. So okay, another scenario. You're Alan Pardew. You're new in the job. Yeah? You want to make an impression. You don't want to be a hard ass. You want to have fun, but you need results. God damn it! Second week in, there is an altercation with a taxi whilst you're away. How do you react?
When you say altercation, I'm assuming this means I haven't been hit by a taxi. Because if I'm Alan Pardew and I've been hit by a taxi, I just do dance. That's all I do. I think what Pardew did was almost correct. I personally...
Angry dad it, yeah? Is that
well,
what you're saying?
Yeah, he stripped Evans of the captaincy for the game. He didn't play Barry, I don't think. But then that's probably more to do with fitness, to be fair.
Yeah.
He probably was like, well, look, we won't play you, but you've played a lot and you're 39 years old. Yeah, they argued that he said, 4 of them have been dropped. Right. By no stretch of the imagination does anyone believe Michy was going to start that game.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's not pretend that he was dropped. He wasn't dropped. He wasn't selected because he wasn't going to be selected. They just... I don't know if he was on... don't think he was on the bench either, but... It's... What I would have done, personally, I think... The punishment should be that they're dropped from the squad entirely. All 4 of them. But to be honest, the way West Brom are playing, it's more of a punishment than playing for 90 minutes. You know, it's... Yeah,
that's absolutely correct. They probably wanted it.
They probably were like, we'll have a rest now. I can't face it again.
Well, it would have hit their pockets pretty hard, wouldn't it? The amount of fines they would have got. But yeah, that was that. An interesting words come about because
this is new to me.
I know what it is, and I just assumed that everyone knew what it was.
Yeah.
So when Glenn Hoddle said it like about a week ago, he wasn't on the first week. He's not coined it or anything. He just said it, and it was brought up in conversation with pundits and commentary.
This word already says he texts me it.
Okay.
And I had to query it. I thought autocorrect failed or something.
So guys, let us know. I'll go on the list as well. SWAZ. Gormley, SWAZ. A bit of SWAZ. He's put a bit of SWAZ on it. You keen on that?
Is that the context you're using it in then?
You put a bit of SWAZ on the ball.
Right, so Roberto
SWAZ
Carlos,
central.
Roberto Carlos' free kick against France.
SWAZ central.
Okay.
You're putting some SWAZ on that. So you put a bit of SWAZ on the pass. So it's a bit of power.
Mo Salah in the Champions League.
Movement. You put movement on the ball. If it's a bit of power, pace, but it's mostly a bit of spin, basically.
Oh, okay. So it's an actual depth. It's a definitive movement of the football rather than just a term for. Well, that was good. So it's. So
you see, oof.
I don't know what happened there.
So yeah, it's the movement of the ball when you manipulate it with skill.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Roberto Carlos, France.
Absolutely.
Okay. Maradona, England.
The list is ongoing, yeah.
So that sort of thing. Okay.
So you put some SWAZ on it.
I'd never heard it.
Not a fan. But you heard of it?
I'd never heard of it. I genuinely hadn't.
Yeah.
So hang on. So is this a new phrase?
No, I don't think it is a new phrase. I've heard of it and used it.
That if it is a new phrase, Glenn Hoddle has heard about it and I hadn't.
Exactly.
That is worrying.
And you haven't got as many progressive views as that.
No,
so I think
I haven't. But I am. I'm a spiritual healer.
So Glenn
if
Hoddle,
I did have a spiritual healer, her views wouldn't be as progressive as
Glenn Hoddle's one up on you, I'm afraid. So yeah, that's a bit of SWAZ. That's good, like the Jubilani. How can we forget?
I like that. I like that.
That's good.
Can you SWAZ in Russia? You get arrested, then.
I think that's against the law.
That is against the law. All right,
I think it is. I think we should leave this and this till another time, really, because we can talk about him.
We can discuss that.
We can do that.
That's what we can do. That's.
I can always do that. Done that. Done that a little bit. Save that. Save that and whatever else comes.
Yeah, well, that we do ad nauseum anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
we did it a little bit. I even did a facial impression.
You did, yeah, you're right. So we're going to put it out there. So we're going to do a little bit of gambling.
Who's that an impression of? Arsene Wenger being asked to make
back off
about discipline.
Back off. He would take you down to Chinatown. He'd strangle you with guilt.
Coat, wouldn't he?
He'd strangle you with guilt.
Arsene.
Imagine going in.
Arsene, your players have smashed a nightclub up.
Jack Wilshere, he's just been caught smoking. He goes into Arsene Wenger's office. They cannot even look at you.
Yeah. Well, we can't settle you because we've got rid of Chesney there. And to be honest, we're short on midfielders. I reckon now, at the minute, Jack Wilshere could be caught smoking crack in the toilets. And they'd be like, look, we want to discipline him, but he's only got 4 months left on his contract and we need a central midfielder.
Getting away with murder.
If anything,
getting away with blooming murder.
Be like, oh look, we're going to turn a blind eye to the crack. Just sign that.
Just do that. I won't tell anyone.
Yeah,
and then we might tell you if you need to go. But please, Jack, it comes with a cigarette sponsorship, and we'll give you all the cigarettes that you need. Sign the tin. Yeah, that's a little roundup. So we're going to do a little gambling post to open it up because I'm genuinely interested to see what people think of it. We're going to do a Harry Kane versus Balotelli. We know what's going to happen there. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do some other whimsy thing as well. But cheers for watching this week.
Thank you very much.
We've rambled quite a bit. We're open to rambling suggestions. So just hit us up on all the socials and that. There you go. You all right there, Grandad?
What's happened is he's left me. He hasn't left me at all. I am trying to do stuff with his computer, and I don't know what I've done. So I'm just going to not touch it, and I'm going to say goodbye.
So we're all going to say goodbye right now.
Thank you very much.
But thank you, New.